All right, man. So we're here. Hi, and I'm coming to you on the OBS software. I've tried to get. Oh, you don't care. If you care, you can subscribe to this channel and then you'll hear me gripe about it right now. But you're watching because you want to know how to use your credit card to pay for your legal marijuana. Now, how do you do that? How can you turn this into green? Now, maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you've actually used your credit or debit card to buy marijuana. And if you have, please drop us something in the comments that told us where you used it, how you used it, and real important question here. Did you need to use your PIN number to make the transaction? Or was it just like a plain vanilla credit card transaction? I'm sure you guys have used a credit card before. You swipe it. Actually, now it's 2018, and even last year, you put it in and it reads your chip and then it starts beeping at you after it's done and you take it out. But anyway, let's get going. We're going to talk about how you can use your credit card to buy your marijuana. I'm Tom, and you can see on the bottom, you can always, if you want to know more about me, go ahead and Google Tom Howard Marijuana. You'll see plenty of stuff that comes right up. So, how are they doing it? I thought marijuana was the most legitimate cash-only industry in America. So if this cash-only industry is accepting merchant services, aka credit cards or transactions, there has to be some way that they are actually doing it. Now, that is backwards. Going back and forth. So, what is a credit card? Now, you guys understand what credit cards are. Y'all have them. Maybe you don't understand their nuances and technicalities. A credit card is what they call an unsecured loan. Now, a secured loan would be, let's say, I have this coffee mug. I need $1. You can put a lien through the Uniform Commercial Code on this here coffee mug, and if I don't pay you back the dollar, you take the coffee mug as payment. It is what you would call collateral. It's what you would call a secured loan. Again, if you don't want to Google Tom Howard marijuana, you can just Google Tom Howard bank attorney and you'll see why I know all that crap. But with credit cards, they are what you call an unsecured loan. There's no underlying collateral. Even if you use that credit card to buy, let's say, a computer. Well, in that instance, depending on what your account service agreement is, maybe then it might be what they call a PIMSy. Getting too much into the weeds. Plain vanilla credit card transactions are typically interest-free, provided, of course, you pay them within the grace period. So you buy groceries or whatnot, and then you haven't paid for them. You're on somebody else's credit. You've used somebody else. You've accessed credit to buy your groceries, and then at the end of the month or whenever your billing date is for that credit card, you'll get your statement. And then if you pay off your statement, or if you pay off your entire balance before the next billing cycle, you've essentially gotten interest-free loan. And we can get into net present value and determine how much those groceries were actually priced because you got 6 weeks or however long to pay for them before you incurred interest. Why does credit card companies extend interest-free loans? Well, it's not really interest-free. It's only for that grace period, and then you usually get hit with a fairly hefty, what they call, annual. Well, it's an APR, annual percentage rate of interest. And typically with credit cards or unsecured transactions, they're going to juice you because there's no underlying collateral that they can go after. Like your home mortgage might be 4%, but your credit card balance might be 20. So that's how it works for us. How does it work for a company? A company doesn't have the exact same type. Now a company, they need what they call a merchant service provider. And that merchant service provider, most famously your Amex, your Visa, and your MasterCard, those people have a merchant service account with a company. And those merchant service accounts, they don't get into marijuana because it is technically money laundering. Now, if you're buying marijuana on your credit cards, you're buying it from a dispensary. That dispensary is complying with state law. However, the Robecker-Farr Amendment has only defunded the Department of Justice for medical marijuana, not for all marijuana transactions, and even a defunding of, instead of prohibition, it's a proscription. You're forbidden from doing it. It's unlawful. However, if you don't have the Department of Justice and Jefferson Beauregard Sessions to come kick down your door, is it really illegal? All of this is just theoretical mostly. because the reality is your Amex, your Visa, your MasterCard, they believe it's money laundering. They have not allowed you to have what they call a merchant service code, typically a 4-digit number that allows the MasterCard or the Visas or whomever on your statement to understand what you have purchased. So if you go to Costco, that might be, groceries. I'm not sure what the merchant service code is on Costco. If you buy flowers, it's going to be a flower shop. If you get your oil changed, it'll be cars, something. There's pages of these merchant service codes, and not one of them, not one merchant service code is for cannabis. So, again, I've heard people tell me, and I've seen websites that claim to provide merchant services for marijuana, or credit card services for marijuana, or debit services for marijuana. So how are they doing it? Well, they're doing it through something called a point of banking system. So go ahead and Google point of banking system or PBS. And basically a point of banking system is fairly substantially similar to an ATM, but without the cash. The cash is all electronic. And so you have bought, let's say, $200 worth of cannabis from your dispensary, and you go to buy it, and they have, for some reason, there it is. It's the card swiper or the chip reader. And you put your card in, and then it should ask you for a PIN. So you put the PIN in, and now what you have done is you've just made a cash transaction. What does that mean? Ooh, we've gotten around the whole merchant service code that we need. So you're not going to be able to use your Visa, how you use your Visa, but typically in credit cards you have your cash withdrawal balance, which is substantially lower than your credit allocation. So you might have $20,000 on your credit card, but you can only get $2,500 of cash withdrawals. And then you have to remember your PIN number for that. And I can remember my PIN number for my ATM card, but I can't remember my PIN number for any of my credit cards. So I'd probably just get out my ATM, my ATM card, give the dispensary my card, enter in my PIN, and then bang, I've paid for marijuana using my Visa card. It's not really using my Visa card, it's a point of banking system. And still, you guys are listening to this and you're like, what? Point of banking system? Well, that's all right. If you got any questions, please drop them in the comments. Subscribe to our channel, and you're going to, especially if you're in the industry, because you might not know it, but my name's Tom Howard, and if you are watching this and you believe in legal cannabis and you have a job in the cannabis industry, a legitimate job, I like you, man, or lady, and I want you to do well. And so every week I donate an hour of my time to answer salient questions regarding the operations and the legal compliance of the cannabis industry. It's great. I got to serve you guys. I got to help people understand the extremely complex world of legal marijuana. And, if I do this, eventually one day everybody will be buying, well, not everybody. Those people of age will be buying cannabis on their Visa cards, and there will be a merchant service code for marijuana or cannabis. Let's be honest. The only way, and I can tell you this is an aside, this is a little bonus content, because I'm an attorney, I sit on a lot of boards and committees, and you see laws and rules get voted on, and it's amazing how few people have what they do the drafting, they have the vision as to how the law is supposed to be, and then it's sent to the committee. And the committee, they have lives, man. And if they trust somebody else on the committee, it's one of those things where you see in the Congress or something, it's like, did you read the vote, Senator? I'm not, did you read the vote? Did you read the bill, Senator, before you voted? No, of course, he didn't read it. He still voted on it, he didn't read it. And I can see back in 1937, when they had the Marijuana Tax Stamp Act, passed in August, by the way, and this is before air conditioning was cheap and plentiful. So if you think that Washington, D.C. is fun to stay in August, no, especially not in 1937. So they changed the word cannabis to marijuana. They took marijuana and they just used yellow journalism to scare everybody about Mexicans and jazz musicians. And then when it came up to vote, nobody read it, well, except for the person who actually wrote it, and they just trusted him and they voted for it. And now here we are, 80 years later, talking about how you can use your credit card to buy legal marijuana. Again, thanks very much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, and any questions that you have about operating your cannabis business, either find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/free-THC, or leave us a question in the comments, or Google Tom Howard Marijuana, and you'll find out how to contact me. Now, I got to get back to work, and I'll see you next week.